Okay, we got a game here. It's Perez, Dominguez, and Magnus Carlsen. Okay, this was during a Blitz game, and it was a draw. But it's a pretty interesting little game that we got here. Starts off E2 to E4 with Dominguez, and Carlsen enters the E7 to E5, and knight G1 F3, knight B8 to C6, bishop F1 to B5, and we got A7 A6. Pretty much you got the Ruy Lopez started. B5 to A4, knight G8 to F6. Then we have castle. Then we have bishop F8 to E7, and rook F1 to E1. So, you know, we're already getting ready to build up, but you still see that black's a little bit more developed right now than white is. White still has a knight and a bishop on the back rank, and so far all that black has is just a bishop, and he's just got to connect his rooks up and he's good to go. So we have B7 to B5, challenging that bishop A4 to B3. He pulls it back, and then we have a castle for black. So Carlsen goes ahead and decides the castle. Then we have A2 to A4, and he's trying to get that open file for that rook. Then we have B5 to B4. He just passes it right on up. I mean, there's no sense in giving that rook that semi-open file on A. Carlsen really noticed that. Nah, he doesn't need that. And then we have D2 to D4, and he's challenging that E4 pawn. We have D7 to D6, and as you see, there's still a little bit of control trying to go on over the center. D4 takes E5, knight C6 takes E5, which is also challenging the knight on F3, and Carlsen's pretty much doing pretty good with his setup right here. So then we have knight F3 takes E5. Then we have D6 takes E5. And now, as you can see, we got the queens looking at each other on the board. And we do have queen D1 take D8, rook F8 take D8, and then we have knight B1 to D2. And we have bishop E7 to D6, guarding that pawn. It's pretty much even at this point. You know, it's kind of hard for black to really do a whole lot. You know, and he's now Carlsen now does have this bishop sitting there just guarding the pawn. But like I said, this is just an interesting little match from the tournament. We have knight D2 to C4, which is challenging the bishop C8 to E6, and Carlsen doesn't mind giving up this bishop because the pawn's going to take back, and it's going to help him get a little bit of structure just on the board. So bishop C1 to G5, challenging the knight, and then we have H7 H6, and we have bishop takes. Bishop G5 takes F6, G takes F6, and it kind of opens up Carlsen's king a little bit. Magnus is, you know, I'm pretty sure he thought this through before he got to this point. And, you know, even though the double pawns does hurt him a little bit, I'm thinking it wasn't an easier way to actually get an open file started to where you can attack his king side with your rooks. We have knight C4 to A5, which is threatening to come in and challenge one of his rooks already. C7 to C5, giving a little bit of support to that pawn. And now we have bishop B3 to takes E6. You know, bishop takes bishop, and now he's given a chance for Carlsen to take back with the F7 pawn. So F7 takes E6, and I think it really helps Carlsen a little bit because he now can push a little bit and kind of undouble these pawns a little bit easier. Knight A5 to B7, which is challenging the rook. Rook D8 to D7, challenging the knight. Rook over challenging the bishop, which was rook A1 to D1. Rook D7 takes B7. Then rook D1 takes D6. So it was an even trade on that point. King G8 to F7, help protect the pawn. Rook D6 to C6. So he's after a pawn now. Again, he's trying to gobble up material at this point. If he ends up eating up a bunch of material, then Carlsen's going to have a hard time coming down the board to mate. B4 to B3. Rook C6 takes C5. And then B3 takes C2, which I think was a pretty smart move on Carlsen's part, because now it's going to drag. It's a possibility of dragging that rook back down to the C2, which it does, which is Rook C5 takes C2, Rook A8 to B8. So now he's doubled up on that B file, and he's attacking that B2 pawn. Rook C2 to C6, attacking the A pawn. A6 to A5. Just pretty much saying, I'm going to make you waste that move there. C6 to A6, which is attacking again. Rook B7 takes B2, and then we're going to have Rook A6 takes A5. Rook B2 to E2, and, you know, it's kind of weird to see this, you know, Rook B2 to E2 from Magnus, because if you look at it, you're thinking, you know, it's a free rook, but if you take that rook, you're mated. You know, it looks kind of like a weird move, and a lot of people wouldn't catch it at first, but let's say rook takes rook, then we got rook down, there, and it's a mate. So, you know, so Carlsen's pretty smart when it comes to this. King G1 to F1 is what he done, challenging. And then you got different variations, you know, I mean, you know, you got rook could have took, you know, rook, you know, that's what would have happened. But he decides to go King G1. And then we got rook going to A2, you know, alpha 2 over there. So you can't let that pawn there run away with everything either. Rook A5 to B5, which is challenging pretty much the other rook that is sitting on B8. Rook B8 to C8, and then we got Rook B5 to B7. King F7 to G6 since it was in check. Rook B7 to B3. Rook C8 to C2. You know, I mean, at this point the pawn's not being pushed. There's no a lot of players with this lower rating would have took that pawn, but as you can see, it's not worth it. It's not going anywhere as of yet. So why not double your rooks up, you know, and get an attack going on that king. Then we have Rook B3 to G3, then King G6 to F7, Rook G3 to F3, then Rook A2 to A4, E2, you know, pretty much taking. G2, G3, Rook C2 to C4, challenging that pawn again. Rook F3 to E3, and then we got Rook C4 to D4, King F1 to G2, King F7 G6, Rook E3 to E2, H6 to H5, and then we have H2 to H4. Now, in this position here, which was the end of the game, they both decided to take a draw. And it's a really, really hard position, because even here, if you look at it and they take the draw, Black's got to come up with a move here. So more than likely, Black's going to do that, push that pawn, and you can see here, even Stockfish and Fritz is saying that's the worst move, and it's your best moves here would have been, you know, would have been either here, whatever. Yeah, it would have been king back here. But if you'd pushed, you know, take, and then what do you got? You got nothing. You're pretty much down big time, and it's not getting you anywhere. So it's really not. But like I said, your best moves would have been here, and then now White has come up with the move. And what's White going to do? Honestly, I mean, it's just, You know, say it goes there, then what are you gonna do? Your best move is a king move, and it's a draw. I mean, it's just, and your best move is a king move, best move, king move, and as you can see, just keeps on.
Threefold repetition.
See, it had been threefold repetition right there, but the position was just a draw. They both decided on it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this game. It was a pretty fun little game to watch. You guys take it easy, and if you just remember, keep on playing some chess. Later.